the same someone, also heard them say that going uphill is easier when you go with friends. Okay? And I know that a lot of people in this room, we represent different interests. And, I just want you to know that together, we can make a difference. Together, we can make a change. Together, we can get things done. And together, we can flip the fifth. I know this. Okay? And so does Betty. Because Betty doesn't just hear you. Betty listens. Betty feels.
Thank you very, very much. We can talk about policy, but I think I've had one too many Blue Betties for that. We can talk about the horrible state of politics in our nation right now, but y'all look too good for that. So what I'd like to talk to you about tonight is how I got here, why I'm here. I've always been politically active, tried to be politically aware, politically annoying, probably. But after this last election, I spent the night of November 8th in shock. And I know I wasn't alone in that. I know that very, very well. I wasn't alone in that. And that night, as I tried to sleep, as I tried not to sleep, tried to wait for them to come on the television saying, "Gotcha!" which didn't happen. I thought, I have to do something. I cannot just accept this. I have to do something. So the next day I went to work, and I filled out the paperwork to request a loan on my 401k so that I could get tickets to the Women's March in Washington. Well, needless to say, I wasn't the only one that felt I had to do something. There was over 1 million people in Washington, D.C. That's not counting the thousands across the country. Over 7,000 here in Colorado Springs. Yeah, we ain't as red as they think we are.
That's right.
We are not as red as they think we are. After that, I was like, okay, that was a life-changing event. I was incredibly moved by the stories of the different women and men that I met in Washington. But I came home and I thought to myself, now what? Now what? And again, not alone in the now what question. And I found a very supportive and loving home with CauseCan. And I became very involved with different marches, different rallies, I've written more postcards than I ever thought I would ever write. And together, we shared our fears and our hopes, a lot of postage stamps, a lot of anger. But most of all, we shared in each other the faith that together we can do and be better. Then along came March 8th. And now, y'all, really? Betty, you want to pose naked on the steps of City Hall? Yet no? Are you kidding me? Okay, who else posed naked on the steps of City Hall? Julie, get up here. Trish, get up here. Come on. Come on, Julie, get up here. Get yourself up here. Come on. I was going to say, you always do it naked. No, I'm not asking you to do it again, for heaven's sakes. No, you don't have to do it again.
I'm used to hiding behind my sign.
Yeah, you can grab your sign if it makes it more comfortable. Okay, this is what we all look like with our clothes on. All right? But the three of us among a bunch of other women stood on the steps of City Hall. No, we were not really naked. I was wearing the most god-awful pair of granny underwear you ever did want to see. Okay, see. But, yeah, right? It was all of it. But in that moment, we all held a sign about why I resist. And like many of the women here tonight, I am a sexual assault survivor. I am not a victim. I do not have a pussy for anybody to grab. At least not without my permission. Just saying. Okay? Trish, what was your sign and why?
I said immigrants should not live in fear. I'm an immigrant, as you can tell. I'm from Ireland, and I have a green card. I'm still waiting on it to come in the mail. I was told in November I'd have it in 4 months, and I called in February and they said add another 6 months to that. So you kind of, it's okay, but I have to go through that inconvenience of getting my passport stamped to travel every time I want to go home to Ireland. And I just live in the fear of, for people who, you know, I don't know, you can be documented or not documented. You live in the fear of, could you be driving, be pulled over for a missing light on your car and then end up being, I don't know, questioned. Or also my last experience coming back into America through immigration was a stark difference from when I went home in December, where I was treated very nicely and had an extension on my passport, and the guy was lovely. But in May, after Trump was inaugurated, I was treated very unkindly and questioned terribly. And it's just this you kind of, you're fine, but you kind of have this notion that there's an abuse of power and you just don't feel comfortable all the time. But that's it, really. So it's really for everyone who's in that position, you know, who may be afraid for no reason at all. They shouldn't be, but it's out there with what's happened with all the immigration bans and craziness. So, there you go.
Thank you, Trish. And Julie has lovingly, bravely, and I am ever so grateful, joined my core team, as well as, you know, we tease each other all the time. We're like, don't give me any shit, because I know what you look like naked. So Julie, tell me about your sign and why.
So my signs are back here. My America knows no walls, first and foremost, because I and none of you are paying for that damn wall.
Or Chris. Chris, you have to pay for it.
Correct. But similar to what Trish said, I was standing there not just for myself, but for all of the people who couldn't stand there, that are in fear for being deported, or fear of that wall, or fear of what that wall means, even the talk about that wall and what that means for their families, people who are just even more so afraid to go back into the shadows, the dreamers, the DACA kids, the people who are terrified right now about what's going to happen. So I was standing there for that.
Thank you. So, you know, in that moment of standing there on those steps, I stood there in tears. And not because it was cold. Because it really wasn't, considering it was March 8th. It was a beautiful day. But I stood there feeling that, in spite of and maybe because of my scars and my truth and my pain and my hope, I was strong. Now, if I'd have been standing there by myself and those god-awful grannies, oh, hello, that was scary, I would not have felt strong. I would not have felt hope. I would have just been cold and kind of weird. But standing there with the other women, speaking their truth, owning their scars, and being strong enough to believe that we can do and